Celtics fans, you're watching Celtics Today. I am Will Scott. We are already busy with plenty of off-season news and rumors. We'll talk about some more rumors on today's show. But first, just got to shout y'all out for 18,000 subscribers. Thanks so much for subscribing to the channel. And we cover the Celtics better than anyone on YouTube. So if you want to stay in the loop with the C's, be sure to hit the subscribe button below, youtube.com/CelticsTV. We'll start with some coaching staff news because Joe Mazzulla's staff is starting to come together, and this was a phenomenal hire. Sam Cassell, the former 76ers assistant, has joined Joe Mazzulla's staff. He was actually a member of the 2008 championship team after the Celtics got him mid-season. Then he was a Celtic for 2009 as well. I said 2018. And then he was with the Celtics in 2009, where he was kind of a player/coach with Doc Rivers. And ever since, he's been an NBA assistant for 14 years. He interviewed for several head coaching jobs this year, including the Houston Rockets job, which former Celtics head coach Ime Udoka eventually got. I can't believe that Sam Cassell is not a head coach yet. Every single year, I'm like, man, this guy would be at the top of my list if my team had a vacancy. And he hasn't gotten a job yet, but I think that's good news for the Celtics because he's going to come in here and be Joe Mazzulla's top assistant. I think this is absolutely huge for the Celtics. This is a guy that should be a head coach in the league that's joined the Celtics staff as an assistant. Grade the hire of Sam Cassell. Type A, B, C, D, or F down in the comments section. It is the pinned comment, so when you get a second, go chime in. Type A, B, C, D, or F. Sam Cassell had a lot to do with James Harden deciding to return to Philadelphia for this past year. Those two had a good relationship. Producer could remember that viral video of Cassell training him and Tyrese Maxey last year. And speaking of Tyrese Maxey, Sam Cassell is credited for his development. Maxey has gotten to be one of the best young players in the league. Big reason for that, his former assistant coach, Sam Cassell. So I'm really excited about this hire. Credit to Joe Mazzulla in Boston for bringing Cassell in. Nick Nurse just got hired as the 76ers head coach. Cassell was up for that job. He probably didn't feel like remaining in Philadelphia after being spurned for the head coaching job. So to Boston he goes, shipping up to Boston, Sam Cassell. It also could be Charles Lee shipping up to Boston. The Celtics are targeting the Bucks assistant to join Joe Mazzulla's staff, according to multiple reports. Now, this is not a confirmed hire like Cassell. We're still waiting to hear if Charles Lee is going to join Joe Mazzulla's staff. But much like Cassell, Lee interviewed for some head coaching jobs this year, including the Milwaukee Bucks job. He was in the mix to replace Mike Budenholzer. Apparently, Giannis really high on Charles Lee. He's one of the best young coaches in the league, so keep an eye on this situation. But, man, if you can get Sam Cassell and Charles Lee, who, in my opinion, would both be fantastic head coaches, to get them on staff as assistants, that would certainly help out Joe Mazzulla and this Boston team. Now, a Celtics target, Stephen Silas, who was with the Celtics. He was sitting with Brad Stevens at practicing at a playoff game, right after the Houston Rockets let him go. He has joined Detroit staff under Monty Williams. So he's going to be the top assistant under Monty Williams in Detroit. So Stephen Silas not coming to Boston. I just wanted to make note of that. 3 Celtics assistants are joining Ime Udoka's staff with the Houston Rockets, which kind of led to the Celtics wanting to move on Cassell and maybe Charles Lee as well pretty quickly here. Ben Sullivan was on the bench. Garrett Jackson, Mike Moser, they were player development coaches. But 3 Celtics assistants going to join Ime Udoka's staff, which is not a huge surprise because Udoka hired those guys, and they obviously were not expecting to not be working for Ime Udoka this past season. You can go bet on the NBA Finals at chatsports.com/bet. BetUS giving you a 125% deposit bonus. If you put in that promo code, you're going to get that bonus. That means if you put $100 into your account, you're going to start with $225 in your account. It's a great deal. Go and take advantage. Got the Game 3 odds. Vegas continuing to disrespect the Miami Heat. The Nuggets are a 2.5-point favorite on the road in Game 3. Is Tyler Hero coming back, Producer Coop? That's the rumor, that Tyler Hero could be coming back. The ones that hate me the most look just like me. You tell me what that means. I might have to bet on the Miami Heat here I like Jack Harlow, man. Producer Coop's laughing. I like Jack Harlow. Plus 2.5 for the Heat. The total at 214.5. Promo code SHOT125 to pick up that deposit bonus. Let's talk about some trade ideas from Bleacher Report. So they put out an article outlining a trade idea for every single team. Let's start with what they said for the Boston Celtics here. And I really like this trade. The Celtics received Kelly Olynyk from the Utah Jazz. Jazz received Peyton Pritchard and Danilo Gallinari. Now, Pritch really didn't have that big of a role in the team this year. He only played in 10 of 20 playoff games, so they might look to move him. Pritchard actually has requested trade. If you missed that video, the link for it is down in the comments in the description. And then Danilo Gallinari, who we did not see play this year. He worked his way back from a torn ACL, but he could be in some trade rumors as well this offseason. Here's what Bleacher Report said about the Celtics acquiring Kelly Olynyk. As good as this Celtics roster is, the playoffs showed us that Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and company can go ice cold from the outside. Adding one more shooter, especially in the front court, helps keep this offense humming and the driving lanes open. Olynyk makes his return to Boston. Producer Coop's still laughing about Jack Harlow. A year after putting up 12.5 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 3.7 assists, and shooting 39.4% Utah, he'd be ideal third big for this roster behind Al Horford and Robert Williams. Here's what he did this past season in Utah. Pretty good numbers, 12.5 points per game, 6.2 rebounds per game, 49.9% field goal percentage, 39.4% from three. So he also adds that three-point shooting ability as well. Could be really good at the four for the C's. The unit trade for Kelly Olynyk, type T for trade or type P for pass. Down in the comments section, go down, chime in. Should the Celtics trade for Kelly Olynyk? I'm saying T for trade. You know, we'll see what the package looks like here. It might not be exactly what Bleacher Report put together, but I could certainly see Peyton Pritchard going back to Utah because Danny Ainge drafted Peyton Pritchard. He said some really nice things about Peyton Pritchard. I think Kelly Olynyk would be the perfect fit. He can shoot the three. He can defend. He can be really good for you at the four, and I think you need more depth down low with Al Horford aging and Robert Williams having the injury problems that he's had as we welcome in producer Jeff Cooperstein to the show. Coop, your thoughts on the Celtics maybe acquiring Olynyk here?
Yeah, I think it would be a good deal for the Celtics. Obviously, he has familiarity with the organization as he's been there before. You know, he was teammates a few years ago with Marcus Smart. So he has some familiarity there, and he's always been one of the most consistent big man shooters in the NBA. As a guy coming off the bench, he can knock down a couple threes, grab you a couple rebounds, and he's an underrated playmaker at the five. I think it would be a good fit for the Celtics.
Not to mention, he did start his career with the Boston Celtics, played for the C's for 4 seasons, had a good run in Boston, I think very well liked among Celtics fans, so it'd be great to see him return to Boston as we get into our second trade idea here from Bleacher Report. This was for the Portland Trail Blazers, but it obviously involves the Boston Celtics. The Blazers would be getting Jaylen Brown. The Celtics would be getting Anfernee Simons, Nasir Little, and a 2023 first-round pick, which is number 3 overall in this month's draft. Here's what Bleacher Report said about Jaylen Brown possibly going to the Blazers. If the Celtics have any hesitation about giving Brown a 5-year, $295 million extension following his rocky Eastern Conference Finals, the Blazers should be more than happy to make an offer. Simons becomes an immediate starter in Boston after averaging 21.1 points per game this season, taking over Brown's sidekick role. Little can defend multiple positions, and the Celtics can shop the number 3 overall pick. Simons is a good player, and obviously a number 3 overall pick is very intriguing. I still feel like Brad Stevens would want more for Jaylen Brown. You're talking about a guy that was on an All-NBA second team, obviously, this past year. He's eligible for that max extension. I think they'd want to have a superstar come back to Boston in exchange for him, like Damian Lillard, for example, or maybe add multiple first-round picks instead of just one. And I understand you're talking about the number 3 overall pick. You can maybe draft Scoot Henderson with that pick, but I still feel like they'd want more for Jaylen Brown. It's a decent deal, though, from Bleacher Report there. The Blazers are a team that we've seen linked a lot to Jaylen Brown, and we are going to continue to see linked to Jaylen Brown. Now, they have the number 3 overall pick. I don't think they're going to shop it, but if it means pairing Jaylen Brown with Dame Lillard and returning to prominence in the West, that's probably something Portland would be interested in doing. I could see them going one of two routes. I could see them trading Dame, blowing it up this offseason, building a team around Scoot Henderson, whoever they take at 3. Or I could see them trying to go back into contender mode. In order to do that, I think you'd have to acquire a guy like Jaylen Brown for the number 3 pick. Will Jaylen Brown be on the Celtics in 2023? Predict it down in the comments section, yes or no.